Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pass and Punch podcast. I'm super excited to do this again. We've had a few mini snippets of the podcast, like little segments, like we did with Owen and whatnot. But it was time for us to finally sit down and for an hour just talk about sports and because there's so much news going on currently right now, it's important to really just discuss all this.
Yeah, and just like little opinions or wants. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's fun, and we've been kind of focusing on certain topics as we go, and it's fun to just like sit back and.
No, definitely.
Shoot the shit.
Especially because all the events with like UFC going on, and then you had the NFL free agency where my phone's blowing up from Schefter bombs dropping here and there.
Right.
It's just been. This is a good. I know that there's no football, and that kind of sucks, right? I mean, there's XFL, but no NFL football, so that kind of sucks. But like free agency is such a good time because your team's either getting worse, team's getting better. You're in Twitter comments asking for a guy to come back to your team and everything with that. I mean, this is a great time of the year, and the fights have been just phenomenal, guys. So I mean, this is a great. If you guys aren't in the UFC yet.
Draft's coming up too.
Yes, I'm telling you, if you're not in the UFC, get to UFC now. It's been a great year. A lot of fighters are coming back.
Oh my god, a lot of good ones coming up.
Yeah, dude, it's been great. Where I wanted to start. Well, first, Drew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. I'm a little tired today.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Long day,
Long day.
But
I had my.
How are you?
Had my job in the morning, and then I went and I did an interview. Then I handled a few things on social media for the Twitter, and then I had a gym session, and then it's just been a busy day. But to be able to sit down and relax and discuss some sports, it's a great way to end.
Yeah, a little bit. Good way to end it.
The first thing I wanted to actually get your opinion on, Drew. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 2 days ago, signed a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Detroit Lions. What's your initial thoughts? What's going on?
You want me to try to? I mean, I'm a bird.
Unbiased. Yes.
Unbiased. I kind of think the Eagles do have better options that they could have made because we were able to keep the two corners on the outside. Yes, they are a little older, but if C.J. Gardner-Johnson is really trying to push to put money ahead that much, and we're already tight and we need to allocate in other places, I think it just made sense. And he did get a decent deal. It's kind of still a proven deal. I don't know if he got what he thought he was gonna get, but he went to a good team in Detroit. It's a good fit for him. I think they're gonna be able to utilize him, and I think he's gonna be successful ultimately. But I think the Eagles are gonna be okay too.
Yeah, as do I. And I think the safety market clearly wasn't what him and his agent thought, and even to me personally, I thought the market for him would be even a little higher. Safeties,
I was surprised by that.
Safeties just aren't as valuable to the NFL teams in the market as DNs, as cornerbacks, as these players. Like they're just not as. And I don't know the reason for that necessarily. I think because they're a hybrid between a linebacker and a corner. So I don't know the reason exactly. But going back to him going to Detroit,
maybe they're not as rare.
Okay, yeah.
To have have a premier pass rusher.
Yeah.
Is not every team has
a lockdown corner. Right. That's hard to have. Right. Detroit Lions though, they've got nothing but better. Cameron Dantzler from the Vikings came over there. They signed David Montgomery for their offense, and they have DeAndre Swift already. I think when we're talking about the Lions, their acquisitions are making them a really good team, right?
Already an improving team, too.
Yes. I believe they're going to be a good team this year, but I'm going to say it right now, the biggest question mark, obviously, is still their quarterback, Jared Goff. Jared Goff didn't have a bad season last year. Top 5 in passing yards. He had a pretty good season, but is he going to be able to stay consistent to make a push to the playoffs, or is he going to be consistent enough for Dan Campbell to be accepted as him as a quarterback? What do you think?
Right. That's the main question. Who knows because he's always a liability to throw interceptions, and he always has he sometimes has a tendency to not take care of the ball and to be ultimately a reason that they do lose some of these games or close games or get in bad spots. And with the defense playing well and the run game improving, it is kind of a matter of the quarterback. And with a good coaching staff and kind of like culture that they have going on, and
Dan Campbell,
they're rallying around him and they're getting better and better. It's like he needs to take a step with them.
Yes, I agree.
That's kind of where I'm at with that.
I think this is kind of a year for Jared Goff where they're not exactly in a win now mode. They're very young. They have a young core. So I feel as if this is a year that's really based on Jared Goff, right? It's going to depend how Jared Goff's going to perform. If he performs poor, I can definitely see them going out and getting a proven veteran quarterback who is in a win now mode. Like I can definitely see that with the Lions. But hey, I personally do like to see franchises like the Lions who've been such poverty the last 10, 20 years who can't make it to the playoffs. finally get something going. You know, you
No,
have
absolutely.
Matt Stafford, Megatron, and you can never really advance too far with them. It sucks, man.
Those were still some rough years, even
And
with
watching them on
guys.
Thanksgiving every year and just not wanting to eat because how bad they were.
Right.
No disrespect to the Lions. I'm just you guys.
No, they really did have like some rough stretches.
Yeah. No,
But
clearly.
they're starting to improve on their record year by year, and who knows? Looks like they're still trending up, so we'll see.
Yeah, when we're on the topic of like win now teams, I think another team we can really point our objective towards is the Dallas Cowboys, right? They've made some really big acquisitions. Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks. They just signed pass rusher Dante Fowler Jr. for a year. So, I mean, they're clearly in a win now mode.
Oh yeah, they're loading up. They're going for it. I think actually another thing I wanted to mention about them, and I'm an Eagles fan, but I'll give their credit. I think they did the right move with how they're handling the running back position by releasing Zeke. Maybe he's still good. Maybe it's a year too early, but you have a Tony Pollard who's up and coming, improving, and in my opinion, was the better running back on the roster already. And now it's a transition. It's almost a perfect scenario, and it frees up that cap space to be able to go and get those other guys, like you said, on the defense.
Definitely. They're
kind of scary.
They're doing nothing but good moves right now. And there was always, and last year there was definitely a gap when we were talking to the roster, right? The roster in the NFC East, the gap between the Eagles and anyone else was gigantic, right? And Dallas is slowly starting to, close that gap on us. And they may not. That's what we're gonna have to wait and see. But there's another
honestly,
question mark.
It could be an argument that they have the better roster right now.
Because
there's an argument to be made. I mean, I'm not saying that they do or don't, but that's a conversation to be had for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely an argument because we did lose some key acquisitions. Talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, we lost a lot. We lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Javon Hargrave, and T.J. Edwards and Kazir White. I mean, we have lost.
Who all were very productive last year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of all pros.
Yeah, so we definitely have lost a lot. Win now mode. I wanted to bring this up because I saw a mock trade, right? And this was a joke. It was on ESPN. Aaron Rodgers Jet situation. How Aaron Rodgers says he intends to play for the Jets next year. There was a mock trade, a 3rd round pick, and then a 2024 conventional draft pick.
Right.
For their best player in franchise history. I think that's a joke. I mean, it's multiple first rounders, I would say.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's gonna get it done. I think, while the Packers are obviously aware that I think he's ready to move on. I still don't think they're gonna just give him up for nothing. I think it's still gonna take probably some picks and maybe even still a productive player.
Yeah, no, I would say so.
An established veteran or a young prospect. Something.
Yeah. Maybe one of the wide receivers.
They're not just gonna give him away. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He's still arguably, like he said, one of the best players of their franchise history.
Yeah, and he probably is the best player, which is, I don't know.
Right.
I thought that was a little ridiculous, like a 3rd and a 5th round pick. You would think it's going to be, like you said, multiple first round picks. It's going to be a young core player. I mean, I would just, they're not going to want to just give him away for nothing just because the Jets are in a win now mood with this team. Like, no, that's not how that works.
Oh, no.
He's still a great quarterback.
The Packers still have to look out for their franchise. I mean, they're not just looking to make another team better.
No.
They got to get something for it, too.
Yeah,
he's still a very productive player, and at times one of the better quarterbacks. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah,
hands down.
What's your thoughts on quarterback situation with Lamar Jackson? J.J. Watt had came out on a podcast and he said he finds it baffling that no team has really tried to advance on this guy or has tried to make a deal. What's going on? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I kind of, he's a great player. He's able to win games, and he's always up there in the MVP discussions. He's always up there statistically. But I think maybe teams have a question of whether or not he is really, regardless of how good of a player he is every year, statistically, if he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If that's who they think Lamar Jackson really is. And I think some teams are starting to really question that, honestly.
Yeah.
And especially with the kind of money that he's asking for, it's like, you pay the guys that get that money win playoff games.
Yes, have multiple playoff wins and maybe have a Super Bowl under their belt.
Right.
Except for obviously Deshaun Watson being the outlier, and we covered that. And again, we know that's all ridiculous. But there's another thing to that, Drew. He wants a lot of guaranteed money, and the issue is that are you guaranteed to play all these games? Are you guaranteed to play?
Absolutely.
You've missed 11 games in the last 2 years, Lamar. You can't expect all this guaranteed money when you have MVP. Congratulations. You have one playoff win? I don't even know I think one playoff win.
Right.
You have no championships under your belt. You have that one MVP. That's it, man. You're asking for a lot of money for when your accolades truly, we can't just go off of promising young talent. There needs to be other things supporting 250 million
I mean,
guaranteed.
that's a lot of money. They're pretty far off too. Yeah, I don't know, because if you want that kind of money guaranteed, then I feel like there's a lot more that he has to prove
Mhm.
to get that money. To guarantee that, he's got more to prove.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Listen, I'll make it publicly like I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson. Again, do I think he's a good quarterback? Yeah. Do I think he's explosive and exciting? Like he gives me
Oh,
feels
he's awesome to
obviously
watch.
extremely fun. But
Probably frustrating for some Ravens fans.
yeah. But there's rookie QBs out there that are like biting at the chops to get a chance at that team and don't want nearly as much money as that. And they'll do it for a freaking eighth of that money.
Oh, right, right. You can get
And again, can they reproduce his production? We don't know, and maybe not right away. But you can't tell me he's guaranteed to get that kind of money. I would never stand by that.
I mean, it's kind of showing in the league that there's not much traction with that. I mean, he's gonna have to budge a little bit, I would assume, right?
Yeah, yeah, and but that's the thing. Like that's not a replaceable position as much as like the running back is, because as we've seen, like the running back market's kind of falling apart a little bit. To where Miles Sanders is coming off one of his best seasons, where he's an All-Pro, top 5 in rushing, Pro Bowl, help this team get to the Super Bowl, and he's getting a
Young.
4-year, $25 million deal. It's like,
Right.
damn, man, like that market truly is based on getting a rookie running back and winning it with a rookie running back.
Yeah, it's just like teams are cycling through running backs now, pretty much. That's like the new way of winning, and it's definitely effective. You keep a fresh guy in, and if you have a couple guys you maybe don't have that one guy that carries the ball like 20-25 times a game, but you have a bunch of guys that are like good for 12, 13 carries, productive, helps them maybe even stay healthy throughout the year, and have different strengths and talents. It's a good way to mix up the offense and keep things fresh, and I think a lot of teams do that and have success with that, even like in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like the last like 7 Super Bowl winners, they've all had like running backs at one point on a rookie deal. Again, they give
Right.
outliers like LeGarrette Blount and everything, but Corey Clement was on a rookie deal that year. So
Right, that was like a committee with J Train, Jai,
yeah,
and
you just don't
Clement.
pay right now. It's stupid to pay running backs when there's such talent. I mean, there's a lot of running backs that are in probably D2 college football that could average 3 yards a carry, good with good offensive lines, unfortunately.
Right,
And
right.
that's what
That's
sucks.
another
But
that's another thing. It's gonna be interesting to see because Miles was I wonder how he's gonna do in Carolina, because he was the least, he was touched, what was it, 5 yards after the line of scrimmage on average.
yeah, he's a good
I
running
think
back.
that was the
Man.
best in the NFL.
His career right now, he's at like 5 yards a carry. Like
Oh
he
yeah.
he always got yards, and he was good to like break into the edge. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Frank Reich's gonna do with him, because as we know, like Frank Reich can obviously Indianapolis. I don't think he ever had like a quarterback other than Philip Rivers to really run his offense with. Like I don't think that offense was really ever scary. So that does
Right.
hurt Frank Reich's like outlook a little bit. But I do think Frank is good down there in Carolina. And I do think he can get a good offense going, because they have Adam Thielen now.
Right, right. That
They
kind of went a little low key. Yeah, that
Mhm.
was a great pickup for.
Miles Sanders. They have that Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas. They have a good team around them. Now that, it's who's going to be the quarterback? Are the kids Carolina going to pursue
Right.
Lamar? Are they going to get Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young?
There's a lot of potential names there.
And not a lot of teams kind of win now with a rookie quarterback too. So
Right, that's
I still
kind of
think
hard
they're
to
like a year or
do.
two away.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they still need some
definitely.
time, but they definitely are not our team to be reckoned with. I mean, that offense definitely got better with adding Miles Sanders. I mean, he was one of the better running backs in the league last year.
Yeah. And what do you think about the Giants offense right now with like Darren Waller, Daniel Jones, and I know they signed Darius Slayton and what was the one guy? Another wide receiver veteran, Darius Slayton and I got Sterling Shepard. Sterling
Oh,
Shepard.
right,
All
right.
right. They obviously still need a number one. They don't still have a number one guy. Like
Honestly, I don't know. I kind of expect a similar Giants offense.
okay.
I mean, having Darren Waller will be a nice addition, and that will obviously help the offense, and that maybe will help Daniel Jones to have a nice tight end to go to over the middle as like security. But I don't know if I just expect to see a pretty similar Giants offense. The offensive line still to be maybe a little bit of an issue, and kind of same old, same old. They still don't have that wide receiver on the outside. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I was like giving him $40 million a year, kind of like I still like questioned that a lot because I don't know, like
Absolutely.
I don't think he's won one season where he's thrown over 15 touchdowns, and and the whole thing, like Darren Waller is like a good tight end, but he hasn't really done much in the last 2 seasons. Like there's conspiracies where he's like, even a little washed a little bit. So
Right.
I'm not fearful of them that much.
No,
I'm
no.
truly not. I know they just sent Bobby McCain from the Commanders for another safety, so they got Julian Love, Bobby McCain, but they have Kayvon Thibodeau. They have a good they have a good defense. Dexter Lawrence, they have a good defense, but I don't think their offense can really stand and bang with the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Eagles. Like
Right.
they don't have that top tier
Still
offense
some of the
yet.
similar questions
Mhm.
on offense, honestly.
No, yeah.
And Daniel Jones to me is not a $40 million a year quarterback.
Mm-mm. Serviceable. But I don't see him. Like I don't know how he's getting $40 million a year,
I don't know.
and that
Doesn't
kind of
make
roughs up
sense
the
to me.
market a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh man, I
The
don't know.
quarterbacks are going to get more money.
Who do you think is starting for the Commanders?
I guess
next?
they'll just have to up the salary cap next year.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
That's what they do.
They're gonna have to. What do you think? So who do you think starts for the Commanders next year? Are they like Sam Howell? I guess.
Ooh, I don't know. Do you think they're gonna? What do you think? Do you think he's already on the roster? Or do you think it's gonna be someone in the draft or
For some reason, I think it's gonna be Lamar Jackson. I don't know why.
really?
Because I don't know if I don't know how you just brung I always say his name wrong. Bieniemy.
Oh yeah,
You-
Eric Bieniemy.
I suck at names, guys. But you bring like Bieniemy in there, you're gonna I feel like he'll develop well under Sam Howell, but if you're bringing Bieniemy there, he's gonna want to have a high powered offense, and I feel like he's having
Oh,
a guy
yeah.
like Lamar.
And there are weapons. There's weapons on the Commanders.
Yeah, no, they have Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
They have Logan Thomas at the tight end too, and I like him. They have Brian Robertson. I don't know.
Running
I don't know if
back,
Antonio,
yes.
Antonio Gibson might have signed somewhere. I gotta check that. I'll check that one. J.D. McKissick not anymore.
Right.
But they have a good core there. Jahan Dotson.
Right.
So yeah, they definitely have a good core. And what they're right now, again, a lot of these teams, man, what they're missing is a quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean Lamar might be a good fit for them. Who knows? That would be interesting to see if they go for him. I hope not.
Could you imagine the NFC East with Lamar again?
Oh my
Because like I said, I
God.
know I'm not the biggest fan, but I do think he's a good quarterback still.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
keeps every game close. Like
And I mean his numbers. I mean they don't lie.
no, they don't lie.
He's very effective. I just have my reserves on him, but
Yeah.
seeing him in Washington definitely would scare me.
So how do you think the Eagles go about like adjusting the final? So they signed Justin Evans, who was a Saints and Broncos safety. He had
Right.
he had a very good season with the Buccaneers and the Saints last year. Honestly, I didn't know too much about him. I had to read up on him a little bit, but he had another breakout season, like a little bit of a breakout season.
Right.
And then they just signed a linebacker from the Bears. I'm not gonna get his name right. I'll put it up up top for you guys. But again, those two players are they gonna be?
Yeah, I think they're kind of just like
Depth.
some depth pieces, little roster. Some of them might not even actually be on the final roster
Yeah.
next year. But I think that we obviously have some questions at safety. Somebody who I'm interested to see in Philadelphia is Reed Blankenship. I'd like to see if he is able to, because he definitely showed flashes and he was able to pick off one of the best quarterbacks.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. That one pick was so exciting.
Yeah,
I remember going in there and I'm like, oh my god, who is this 32 guy in there?
right. And that was him. He made that. That was a great play.
That was the game
Baited him
Chauncey
in.
got hurt,
Right.
and then he came in and intercepted. I'm like, yo, and Reed Blankenship can tackle really well as well. Like he's
Right.
a really good tackler. His coverage has a lot to be desired, but that's okay. He's young. He
Maybe
can
that'll
develop.
come with maybe that'll come.
But the
Maybe a
issue
different
is-
scheme.
But the issue is you're kind of expecting Reed to fill in Marcus Epps' role, and then you're like, who the hell is going to fill in that role? And what me and Andrew kind of conspired, even though the Eagles won't draft him this high, most likely, if Branch is there, 10 from Alabama, the
Yeah,
safety.
maybe you take him.
You-
I don't know.
But like picking a safety that high, do you do it?
That's
do you
r-
not? That's with
rough.
Howie drafting. I don't.
I don't actually see that as a real prediction, but I think you have to at least discuss it because it's a real need for the team.
It is, and linebacker.
Absolutely.
The guy we
I mean,
signed-
we lost our two most productive linebackers.
We know obviously N'Kobe Dean's out there, so we're N'Kobe Dean being out there for the Eagles is really 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 good for them. And that was,
Absolutely.
but you still need a better.
He's a hope. They're hoping that obviously he continues to progress and or
Mhm.
get better. Maybe hopefully develops into what everybody thought that he might be when he was getting drafted.
Yeah. Yeah. With the draft coming up, we're gonna have some content relating to there. Maybe just like prospect highlights going forward. I do want to bring on something is like Jalen Carter being involved with the law. He has probation, I think, for like 2 years or something. Don't quote me on it. Um, that's gonna be a hard fall for him because at his pro day he was unable to finish drills due to cramping and due to him being out of like, conditioned.
It's a shame.
It is because
What a waste.
seriously, I mean,
Like,
he was gonna be. He could have. He's not. Wasn't gonna be, but he was in consideration to be the number 1 pick, and there's a chance he might fall to 10. But
right.
Eagles most likely for morale reasons won't draft him.
Yeah, I don't know. He obviously he's somebody that might obviously fall out of the first round.
But the red flags are horrible.
Yeah, he's a real. I would say teams are nervous to draft him.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word like a fear almost like
Yeah.
they see him as a risk.
As
He's
a risk, yeah.
Right.
It's a high risk, high reward kind of pick with him,
Right,
Because of legal
absolutely.
issues and him not be able to do the pro day. Listen, in the end, I think Jalen Carter's gonna have a good NFL career, but it just there's so many red flags. It's like when like Tunsil when he was about to get drafted, and the video surfaces of him smoking from like the gas mask,
Right,
and that
right.
obviously at the time dropped his stock really really hard.
Right.
It's one of those situations that Tunsil just got paid, just became the highest paid offensive lineman for the Texans.
Yeah, and he's turned out to be one of the best.
Kind of I see it as one of those
League.
situations. If if he falls to 10 and the Eagles were to draft him and you're telling me you're going to pair Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter and a Kobe Dean on the same defense, I'll do one of these. Oh man.
I mean, it'd definitely be pretty sick to get a talent like that, but I definitely would also be like, let's see if he actually makes it to the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then that's important. Like yeah. Definitely if he can get through those legal issues.
He's a risk, but we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
wonder if he could even fall out of the first round, honestly.
I don't know if it'll fall that hard. I feel
Yeah.
like one team's gonna take a shot at him because he's such a talent, and sometimes they ignore legal issues and whatnot.
Right. But you
Yeah.
know, we've seen guys fall before.
Yeah.
Who
Dude,
knows?
Alvin Kamara might not be playing football next year. I don't think he will. I think he'll be in jail.
Really?
You hear about the whole situation?
No.
Him in Vegas, and he like brutally attacked somebody and put him in the hospital like really bad. And there was footage came
Really?
out of him back of a police car, quoting like how he beat someone's ass.
Jesus.
That's kind of why they picked up Jamal Williams. Like they're preparing to move on from Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which is just
Jesus.
insane, man. Because
That's wild. You can't be doing that. I mean,
No. Dude, you're an NFL player.
yeah. What are you doing?
Take some responsibility. It's like John Morant for the Grizzlies, flashing his gun and stuff.
What a
Like,
fool.
dude, you get out of that hood life. Get out of the gangster life.
What are you doing?
Like
You're a
what Shannon Sharpe
millionaire.
was saying,
You're
like, dude, you're a multimillionaire. Kids look up to you. You're
so many people would love to make that kind of money that aren't making those kind of stupid decisions. I don't know why you would risk that kind of blessing that you have. That's just irresponsible. That's it pisses me off, honestly. I can't believe that kind of shit.
That's why bringing like a lot of the football events and everything to Vegas kind of scares me a little bit. Well, these people, like especially the Raiders having so many people who've gotten arrested and cut due to like legal issues. It's like
Right.
I don't know. Vegas is probably a good market for sports, but like I don't know for like these players themselves.
It's kind of like, but they should be able to be disciplined enough. I mean,
When you're making that much money, you'd think so.
these are adults. What do you
Yeah, man.
like? Yeah, I don't know.
It sucks. It
It's a
sucks for
worry.
these players.
Hopefully,
I mean,
we don't lose too many like good ones.
and John Morant, his first game back, he went off the bench, right? And he was getting one of his teammates was getting a post interview, and John Morant comes over and starts singing "Young Boy" into the mic. Like, come on, dude! Apparently, you went into a counselor, now you're singing "Young Boy."
Chill out.
Which is just fucking hilarious. Switching topics a little bit. What do you think about Kamzat going to middleweight? Kamzat Chimaev is announcing Dana said that his next fight will be at middleweight.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense. I think because, I mean, if doctors were coming in and telling him to stop, like to no longer continue the weight cut, and he was still 8 pounds away from the target weight, I think maybe that is just not the frame that he should be fighting at. Maybe it's just healthier for him to move up, and I do think he's good enough to have success in that weight class, and still be a scary fight for a lot of guys.
Yeah, but the question is, like, obviously we know his next fight's gonna be middleweight, and Dana said he's gonna fight one of the top 3 guys. Well, Alex and Izzy are fighting, and that leaves Rob Whitaker. But in an interview with Kamzat came out there and said, "I don't want to fight Rob. I would love to train with Rob. Like they're friends."
Right,
Then
right.
Dana right away is gonna be like, "No, I can't have that." So then, where's the questions like, is it gonna be Paulo Costa? Where's Paulo Costa at?
I mean, and Paulo Costa's, that's definitely a possibility, right?
I would love to see that fight.
He's kind of in that discussion up
Yeah.
there. I would like to see that.
They trash talk too, man. They don't like
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
I would love that.
No, Paulo Costa.
That'd be a great
His
fight.
striking would definitely be a threat for Hamzat.
Yeah.
There'd be some power coming at his head.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
see how he kind of deals with the wrestling a little bit. Obviously,
Costa?
yeah, because that's Chimaev is
Absolutely.
one of the best grapplers in the whole UFC.
He's different. He's just different.
He picks
He's got
guys up and
another
throws them.
gear.
The poor Leech getting
He
picking
just
up,
starts the
throwing.
fight in fifth gear and just finishes it.
I feel like I feel like we haven't even seen his full speed yet.
I mean, that Kevin Holland fight, that was insane. I've
That-
never seen anything like that.
and that sucks for Kevin, man, because that's one of my favorite
That really
fighters.
does suck. I'm a big fan of him, but that was wild. I never seen anything
Brutal.
like that.
Yeah, it shouldn't even been that guy.
Ragdolled him.
That set me off with Kamzat. That really upset me about Kamzat after he did all that. That was disrespectful in the way he just reacted towards it. Like that's not how you attract fans, man.
Right. With the whole like he didn't care that he didn't
Mhm.
make weight.
And I seen that he's been like through his Instagram, social media, he has been trying to like build his character a little bit better.
Right.
Which is I get that, and I like that a little more. That you're trying to build your character.
Right. But I mean, regardless, that was an insane
Mhm.
fight. I mean, he really did put him away.
Now let's get into the damn mess that is the welterweight division currently, because I
Oh
mean,
my
there's just so many
God.
questions regarding the welterweight division.
What's going on with
Okay,
that?
so listen, guys.
And then the Mac is just gonna come and knock it all down.
Apparently. So you guys got right now, like who we're looking at the next fights: Leon, Colby, Jorge, Gilbert, Shavkat, Usman's still in the discussion, Chandler and McGregor going at it.
Right.
So many questions, so many different possibilities that's going to happen. Drew, what's the title shot that you think you're going to see next?
That I think I'm gonna see.
From your
Well, I
knowledge.
mean, I think if Dana's saying it's going to be Colby, then I believe it's going to be Colby. I think Colby does deserve it, and he's been in that discussion for a while. He's had a lot of tough fights in that higher, in those higher echelon of fighters, and he's coming off of a win. So I do see that, but what the fight that I would like to see? Oh man, I would
hard, dude.
That is hard. I mean, the Jorge, maybe he doesn't deserve it as much, but there is that bad blood there. If he's able to get a win off of Gilbert in maybe like a convincing fashion, who knows? Maybe that does put him right in the discussion.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
The issue is Colby is 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and those 2 losses were for title. So like the issue is
Right.
he's got his shots. The one guy that I know it's unrealistic, and I know he's already gonna be fighting Shavkat is Bilal. I'm not gonna say it wrong. You say his name.
Bilal Muhammad.
I'm not gonna say Bilal Muhammad. I always say fighters' names.
Yeah, we were
wrong.
talking about him earlier, and he said, I swear to God, he said Bilal Muhammad 5 times, 5 different ways, back to back.
All right. Well, Muhammad to me deserves some kind of recognition for that title shot, man, because he's fighting everyone. He doesn't decline a fight, and now he has to fight Shavkat, which we know Shavkat's good, but that doesn't help his rankings at all.
No, I think he is. He's definitely getting overlooked a little bit, and it's kind of been going on for a little bit of time, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
He's-
wasn't even a
he's-
consideration. Like,
Right, like I would like to hear his name in the discussions at least a little more. Dana doesn't even seem like he mentions him.
no, and he's so
Like-
active too.
Yeah, he always taking fights, and within the fights, he's always putting on good fights.
Yeah,
I don't know what the holdup is with that is because he doesn't is he not talking enough shit? I don't know, like.
and I think that's what we're gonna get into are these fighters that are really good talents, but don't just have that mental, I hate you side of them. Is those they really get suppressed a lot of the times. You look
Right.
at DJ Demetrius Johnson, and they just get suppressed, unfortunately.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always work out for them. Sometimes you can't just be a fighter. Sometimes you really do have to have like something else. Especially if your style of fighting isn't eye candy to some of the fans and it doesn't sell. You got to bring almost something else to the table.
Like, and we all forget that UFC, although it's a fighting league, it's a business. And
Right.
it's a business based on pay-per-view sales and bringing attention to it. So that's why, like, in the end, currently, my theory, and I've told people this, my current theory right now is in just like a year or 2 from now, we're going to see a Conor McGregor versus Colby Covington for the welterweight belt.
God.
Bite. For the welterweight belt. I do think that's on the radar currently.
I think that is like a dream scenario for Dana White. That's like
Me too, though. I want to see
and
it.
for the fans, for the UFC, that's just like
Probably not
that would be
deserving.
imagine Imagine the reels.
It's like, here we go. The reels. We'd be crazy with them. I don't. Again, do we think that Colby or do we think that McGregor would deserve it? Probably not. But
But he's Conor McGregor.
what he's done for the sport and
Right.
his Dana, he literally is proper whiskey's like integrated with the UFC. He's getting the shot, guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's
If he
Conor
beats
McGregor.
Chandler,
You can't
he
pass
will
up
fight
a
for
money
the title.
opportunity like that.
If he beats Chandler, he will fight for the title, and there's no ifs and buts about it.
Yeah, I mean, Conor. I think all rules kind of go to the side when it's comes to Conor McGregor.
Yeah. What do you think about what's gonna happen with Leon if Leon doesn't accept this fight? Is he gonna get stripped? Or do you think he ends up fighting?
It's tough. I mean, I think Dana White is honestly kind of one to hold his ground with that. Like, I think Dana is going to say, look, this is the contract. This is who you're fighting. I make the fights, not you. You're the fighter.
Yeah.
I'm the matchmaker. This is the fight. Because also, you also would be taking an opportunity away from another fighter to say that. Like, who is Leon to say he doesn't deserve it? You know what I mean? I think
Well, I think Leon, the reason he's saying that is because Leon had to fight 12 guys to get in there and fight one of the best welterweights of all time, beat him twice just to retain the title. I think that's where he comes from. And he says, you're not even that active, dude. Like, I think Leon does have a point.
he does. I see what he's saying on the surface, but also like those were competitive fights with Kamaru Usman, the champion at the time, who also had competitive fights with Leon.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also had a win off of Jorge. I see what he's saying a little bit, but I think ultimately Dana White's gonna kind of hold his ground. Like, this is what you're doing, and I think I don't see it coming to Leon getting stripped. I kind of think Leon's just gonna do it.
Well, it's like you have to. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah, like I said this before in the welterweight video. I said it's unrealistic that Jorge gets a shot. It truly is unrealistic. He's like what, like four?
Doesn't really make sense.
2-4 in his last six fights. The guy doesn't get another title shot. He has gotten two of them or one of them. You know what I mean? I just think he's done with that. Gilbert had his title shot. He also lost, but I think Gilbert's like slightly in the consideration. But as we know, Dana, he already said Colby, so I mean that's that. That's gonna be final. What Dana says is gonna happen.
That's kind of where I think he is with that. Like, if that's what he said, that's what happened.
If Shavkat and Bilal get the fight, what do you think about that fight? Like, what kind of?
Ooh, that's an interesting fight. I feel like that's a tough one for Bilal. I feel like he's always having to fight the tough fights and just never really getting the recognition for it. But in that fight, I hate to say it to Bilal again, but like I would have to. That's
A quick cut there. We had a little issue with the audio. But
No
what were
big
you
deal.
saying about Shavkat, Drew?
I think he's a fucking amazing prospect coming up, and I think he's a beast. I think he's gonna be a tough matchup for Bilal. I think Bilal is definitely a seasoned vet, and I think he's gonna be able to make the adjustments and make it a competitive fight. But I think it's just Shavkat. It's his time. He's young, hungry, and he's coming for this division. I think it's gonna be a tough fight for Bilal to pull off. I'm interested to see this one.
Yeah.
But I would have to go with Shavkat. I think while Bilal has momentum, I think Shavkat's momentum is rolling. He's younger. He's just ready.
Him being so young is so good for him. Like, him being so young puts him at such a good advantage with his cardio, with his chin.
Oh my God, right.
He's been through less wear and tear. He's never been finished. He's finished everyone within a few rounds. I mean,
He just got a nice little test under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten the experience he need. He knows what a top 10 contender feels like. I think he's ready, and I also think he finishes Muhammad. But
Right.
if Muhammad wins that fight, then it's a title shot.
I think at that point you got to stop denying him. Like, give the man his respect. At that point, Bilal should definitely be fighting for the belt.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Hands down.
What do you think? What do you think Usman does next?
Ooh, do you think we're gonna see him fight again? I mean, I don't. He doesn't end on that, right?
It sounded like he wants to.
Yeah, I think he's got to take some time, and I don't think we're gonna see him in the cage again for at least probably like 10 months to a year. But I don't know. Maybe again, he does say he likes to stay active, but I think after two tough losses like that, losing the belt, with the headshot dead, and then a tough
Dead. Headshot dead.
and then the tough decision like that, I think that's gonna definitely take some time to come back from. And I don't know what the fight for him is right now, because with Hamzat moving up, that was a potential fight. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he needs to take some time off.
Yeah.
Definitely recuperate your knees. I think he needs to take some time off and talk with his coaches and with Dana even and reevaluate what's truly next for him.
Right.
Because at this point, there's a lot of young guys who are hungry, and it might just be your time to step away. Maybe you give him
Maybe
one more retirement fight, but it sounds like he wants to go for the title again soon. But that's just, I don't know, man.
we have to see how some of these fights shake out then to
I
see.
think
I don't know how the waters are gonna look when
I'll give you
he's
this: if Shavkat beats Muhammad and Usman hasn't fought yet, I think we see a Shavkat Usman, and that's gonna be Usman's last fight.
really.
Especially if he loses, man. I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's kind
that'd
of
be
the
interesting. That'd be interesting. I think that would be honestly a tough fight for Shavkat as well. Honestly, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
But enough about the welterweight division. What do you think about the bantamweight division right now? Especially tomorrow, we have Cheetah Vera versus Corey Sandhagen.
Oh man, that's gonna be an entertaining fight. I'm
Definitely.
really excited for that one.
What do you really that division's stacked, right?
Oh yeah, they got a lot of entertaining fighters, competitive fighters. There's a lot of questions up there, and even with the champion, potentially every fight, it seems like he's talking about moving up next time because he's tired of doing this weight cut.
Yeah. And especially when like the most question mark guy in your top 10 right now is Peter Yan, you have a good division.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys like Rob Font and who's fighting tomorrow? Rob Font and or what card's that?
Sure, you got Corey Sandhagen versus
287?
Cheeto. Yeah.
287 is going to be the I can't think of his name. Yair, sorry, Yair versus Rob Font, which is gonna be a good fight
Yair
too.
Rodriguez.
But there's so many fights in the planning for that currently. You have so many guys who are trying to compete right now. Marab, I mean Sterling, Cejudo.
Right.
Listen. If
Sugar.
Cejudo beats
Sugar's coming up.
Sugar. If Cejudo beats Sterling, then would you get a Marab versus Cejudo? Do you get a Marab versus you know what I mean?
Sugar.
That's what I'm saying. There's such a big question mark in that division currently right now.
Yeah, because I know that Marab and Aljo, like, they definitely don't want to fight, right? Like, there's no budging on that.
Yeah, they
So-
really love each other.
Right.
They're kissing each other. Like,
So that is kind of causing some problems in the division, honestly, because Marab should definitely be probably getting the next shot, unless, I mean, they did say O'Malley, but I don't know. What do you see? Who do you think gets the next shot? Or if Aljo wins, who do you think gets the next shot?
so if Aljo wins, wow, that's hard.
Do you think
man.
maybe he moves right up after that?
That's what I was thinking. I think this is Aljo's last fight, regardless. And then I think for like
Really?
the interim, like to fill it in, I think you're gonna get like a Marab versus Sugar, which is not. I don't know if I like that matchup, but I do think that's the next fight. I think Sugar's is deserving of it, man.
Oh, right.
It's
I
his
mean,
time to get something.
He just came off of a huge test with Peter.
Yeah, which was
which I think
right.
Right, but I think he did get the right decision.
I know, I agree too. Me too. I believe so.
I think from here on out, he's got to just be fighting the top guys until he gets to the belt.
And the reason MMA is so good and the UFC is so good is the other biggest question mark is the fucking heavyweight division.
Oh my god!
We have Sergey Pavlovich versus Curtis Blades coming soon.
Right, that's going to be an interesting one.
Oh my gosh!
That has some implications with the rankings for sure.
Stipe, John Jones.
Oh my god, that could potentially be one of the biggest fights of the history. Of the
Yeah,
UFC.
no, it could be. It's kind of reminds me of DC versus Stipe, kind of.
Right. Two goats going at it, man. That's gonna be crazy.
I'm excited to see that.
Really excited for that one.
Mhm.
John Jones really wants that one. I hope we get to see more of him in the cage with that one. I think we will. I think Stipe, he doesn't have such a exploitable weakness
Mm-hmm.
as Cyril Gane did.
He's been tested on the ground before.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So he has that experience with it, right?
Right.
Okay, but let's per se. Okay, John beats Stipe. Do you think he retires, or do you think he goes and fights? Most likely, what I'm personally think, like Sergey Pavlovich.
I think honestly, if John gets that win over Stipe, I think for him that's probably enough, and that he feels content with his legacy. I think he probably takes the gloves off right then and there.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. That's a goodbye ending,
Right.
and whatnot. But if God forbid he loses, I mean, do you think it's probably Stipe versus Jones too, and then that would be it? I really
Probably
think so.
right, because I don't know if he's really gonna want to do another like chase to the title.
And I think the time that Sergey or Curtis Blades gets a shot at the title, I think it's going to be for like an interim belt,
Right.
because I think both of those other guys are going to go. And once John Jones and Stipe go, damn, that division is open.
It's wide open, and
'cause you got- what's his
at
name?
any point the heavyweight division
Aspinall,
can change.
you got Aspinall, you got Sergey, you got Curtis Blades, Tuivasa, who really is falling off a little bit. You know, Derek
He's
Lewis
on a
fell
little
off.
bit of a tough slide.
So that division's going to be wide open.
Right.
You know,
I like Tom Aspinall coming up.
Yeah, I think he's an
Pretty
injury
well-rounded
right now.
fighter. Yeah. Right. But I'm saying
Cyril
for the
Gane. We
future.
keep forgetting Cyril Gane's still going to be there, and we
Right.
don't know what we're going to see from him anymore.
I mean, hopefully he's able to address the problems in his game, and if he's able to do that, I mean, he's still an excellent striker.
I just think with Cyril Gane, there's an issue for the reason that he started at such an older age when it came to like wrestling and
The
even
grappling
grappling and all. You're such a disadvantage, man. You're
Right.
the only in the top 25 of the division. You're the only guy without a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That hurts, man.
That's a
That
tough-
hurts you big
that's
time.
tough,
You've
right.
never been in a wrestling match either. I mean, most of these guys have. You know,
Right.
I
They all
mean,
have. Most of them have a lot of experience there and are comfortable to take you there, and it showed in his title fight with John Jones.
I
mean,
personally think, well, once those two guys are gone, I think it's gonna be the Sergey show. I think he's
Really?
gonna prove to be a problem to wrestlers with his takedown defense, and I think just a 6'3" gigantic Russian dude might not be easy to take down with lightning
really,
fast
I'm actually
hands.
honestly, I'm kind of picking Curtis
You like Curtis?
in this fight.
Mhm.
Do you want to make maybe a little bet on that one?
I can put a bet on it.
Sounds like you're pretty confident in Sergey.
We're gonna have to like, oh man, let's do it when we do the pre-fight hype up with Sergey versus Curtis Blades. 'Cause I gotta
Right.
watch some more film. A little bit.
Right, just a little.
Let me get a little
personal.
more comfortable with my take, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. I mean, that's a recap of the UFC right now. It's crazy right now.
A lot
You
of
got-
stuff going on.
Oh,
Some
my
cool
God.
cards coming up. 287. I'm pretty hyped for that. Everybody is.
Yeah. And then before we sign off, Francis Ngannou, Chael came out, and guys, take this with a grain of salt. Chael came out and talked about how really the boxing aspect, Deontay Wilder versus Francis is most likely not going to pan out. That's what he was saying, right? He thinks right now it's going to be the one championship or the PFL. That's kind of where we're looking at Francis. And again, I know we're all excited and we're all waiting for that
Right.
decision.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see. Which I honestly would like to see him stick with the MMA route because it's going to be. I think it would be hard for him to go to boxing and then come back to MMA.
Yeah, no, I
think
agree.
that would be a hard transition, especially if he was trying to do it with the UFC.
Just perfect your craft.
Hopefully eventually we do see him back with the UFC and hopefully it's to see him fight John Jones.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God, that fight.
I would love to see it, man. I would
Yeah.
love to see it.
I mean, like I was telling you earlier, though, I think there should be like a UFC in every UFC contract. Well, not anymore, but if he was back into the UFC, that there should be a John Jones clause. If you,
Francis Ngannou clause.
this is Francis Ngannou clause.
Either one.
Either one. But if you're fighting Francis Ngannou, you get 50% more. No matter
Yes.
what, like
Because there's a chance he hits you an uppercut in outer space,
and sends your neck.
and you might not ever fight again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you got to do it. Ask out Overeem. He just got busted for PEDs. You seen that?
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's
How much do you need, dude?
it's hard to say that. That's shocking.
Like when he was during the Belfort era, when they were all PED juicing, and like fucking
Right.
Overeem looked like a Greek god.
Just,
But yeah, I mean, Drew, do you have anything really else on your head?
not much, man. Just looking forward to the new card and interested to see how this draft plays out and
Me too.
leading up to see what's going on. Hopefully, I'm really hoping to see the Eagles pick up another safety. Want to see how the quarterback. There's a couple questions around the league with
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers. Interested to see how that stuff plays
I'm
out.
excited. But again, right here, guys, at the spot, we're gonna keep you updated throughout the whole entire thing. I'm always creating shorts and creating these 1-minute videos to keep you guys updated. It's not me to beat the algorithm. I'm just trying to keep you guys updated and keep you guys in the loop. Contest just posted on our Twitter. If you can predict the Sandhagen versus Cheetah Vera fight, you get a $25 gift card. Make sure you get a go over that. Owen was our last contest winner. We'll bring you on the podcast. We'll get you a $25 gift card.
Right.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're
So
doing.
he can't win the next one.
No, Owen, no, but you're disqualified.
Right.
In all fairness, but again, thank you for all the support. We're 5 away from 400 subscribers, and
Oh,
we're
yes,
approaching
sir.
10K views as well.
Oh, that's
Yep.
what's up.
Yep. So thank you guys for the keenness to support. We'll
Awesome,
have
man.
merch out next week. Nah, too fast. With that being said, though, guys, have a great rest of your day and a good weekend.